2022 I got into it. I wasn't really as serious when I first started. It took me maybe end of 2022, I'd say. I wasn't really as serious, and then transitioned 2023. I was like bang on the money. I was trying to really excel in every way possible. I was given a few more opportunities. I just tried to deep dive into as much of it as possible. I mean, I was kind of signed up to a few different agencies, doing a bit of extra work. But again, even that, I think I maybe did 1 or 2 jobs, and I don't know how much it appealed to me at the time. But then, as I said, once 2003 struck, and I kind of really started to get my fingers stuck in, there was a lot more that I was finding out. I tried to look into doing acting classes, workshops, and to really find and harness the craft a lot more. I think it was maybe March, April. That's when I got quite a decent role, and then I went abroad for a bit, and then we were filming that. But that was almost action performing. But just being on that set in itself, it kind of showed me the realisticness of this dream. You think, I think there was possibilities when I was doing the first couple projects. I didn't really know how serious I wanted to be about it, but then when I was there, that's when I kind of really resonated with it, and I really understood, this is where I want to be. Even just watching some of the other actors just serving and being on set, you could just really understand I want to do that. I want to commit to the same commitment and level that they're at. I wanted to achieve that. So I kind of felt you need to kind of reevaluate how you want to go about this. Is this really what you love? I remember even one of the main actors even coming up to me and going to me do you love this? And I didn't really understand what he meant at the time, but then you need a lot of resilience. You have to love that craft. You have to be so passionate about it that you realize if it's not for you, then you'll crumble very quickly, because I realize a lot of people in this industry, they've got Teflon skin. You have to be bulletproof. There's so much obstacles that you come up against. The resilience you need, it's next level. So when they was looking at me, I felt like they looked into my soul. Do you love this? And I kind of was like, yeah. And he goes, do you love this? He asked me again, and we just almost had it was like a beat. There was a pause. I'm making it sound like a movie, but I was like, yeah. And then consistently just been putting in the work from then, man. I had to really just kind of go into myself to figure out okay, what do you want to do? What do you have to sacrifice? And I've had to make a lot of sacrifices, to be fair. But yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I'd say before this, as I said, before 2022, there was no I would say no urge to do any acting. I didn't think as though I'd be doing acting, even the stunt side of things. I had an interest in active sports, gyms and stuff like that, boxing, but I never really thought anything would transition into wanting to merge it into the acting industry. But I just kind of going back, because I'm reeling off here. Going back to my childhood was just, man, I was a kid of the world, man. I didn't really have no major locked in ambitions. I was kind of just flowing through life, taking every day as it was, to be fair, man. I was always a person that was a bit of a class clown, always kind of looking at everything as though it was just a joke, man. Just ha he he. But that's one aspect of yourself, do you know what I mean? And then I think when you really tune into it, a lot of my friends, none of them were really, or family, none of them were really into entertainment, acting or anything as such. I mean, I had a few cousins that did music in the music industry as such, but other than that, it was just to follow fashion, man. You do what's in your environment. Our environment was very, to some, obviously, it's the norm. To others, it might seem very abstract as to why you would do it. I'd say sometimes we were a bit lost when we were young, because it's like everyone else, man. You get involved. You get involved in silly stuff, man. Do you know what I mean? Like you there's characters around you. Like I got, yeah, man. I've got friends that are like wild outhouse criminals, and then I've got friends that are like, they sit at home and build anime props. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll go to every single Comic-Con dressed up as like in sorry, I lost myself there.
Take your time.
Yeah, so like I was saying, like I got powers that are like outlaws that have no sort of restriction as into what they do, man. Do you know what I mean? And then I've got friends that get involved in like building anime props and going to cosplay at the Comic-Con. There's two different aspects of life, and then I just realized to myself, like, where do you find that balance? Like, who are you? And as I grew up, I kind of felt like, I just fall in line with my friends, man. They're outside, they're in the streets, they're doing whatever, man. That's my covenant, that's who I'm with, whatever. You follow sort of cult fashion or whatever, or trend, but it wasn't really. As you're growing up, I started to realize, I think I went to university, and then that's when I kind of clocked on, like, the people that I was around were nowhere near the people that I had grown up with, like, do you know what I mean? And you got to know your position. Like, there's certain positions that I could say when I was younger, how I even got there, like certain places that when you look, it's surreal, because I would even say, like, I grew up, like some people, they grew up in like mad rough homes. My home was all right. I just think I was just seeking a route of like, yeah, this is around me, so I clearly need to, do you know, like I clearly need to follow whatever that is, what they're doing over there, because that seems like the right thing to do. Like, I mean, I think I based that on the factor of like a lot of my cousins were involved in stuff, a lot of like the close friends that I went to school with and stuff, and people in my area. And then for me, sometimes you got to know your position. Sometimes your position ain't really supposed to be following what they, and that's okay. And I think a lot of people need to kind of G-check themselves and understand, like, where do you stand in life? What is actually your purpose? Like, where do you fall in alignment? Because a lot of stuff now, like some of the people I talk to from my past, and that's not to say I look down on anyone as such, but our frequencies just don't really align as much, because they may be finding something else, or maybe they've got to go a certain other route, and I needed to find out that I also needed to go a certain route myself, and to find that, you've got to kind of detach from everything. You've kind of got to go into solitude, and I found that I had to go into a lot of solitude to find out who I am, if that makes sense. So that journey in itself, it was tough, because you're always used to coming around with your conglomerate, like, do you know what I mean? Like you're always with your peoples, and then I realized that there were certain aspects of my journey, even leading into more creative, like a more creative path. And before I even went into acting, I started like doing graphics. I had like a little clothing, not even little, like I was doing fashion. I had a clothing brand, and it was going places. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was getting quite a lot of recognition from the right people. We were sitting down having meetings about big things from it, and yeah, I even found from then, like, that was kind of a transition to try and help me find and kind of understand what and who I needed to be, because there was aspects of that I enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed being a creative. Like, I've always had like a passion for like the arts, and just like we were talking about earlier, like once you find an idea, you just get it backlogged if you don't execute it. And so like I just had to just boom, do that. Something's come to me, create that. I want to draw that. That's come to me, make that. I was like building stuff, from gadgets to clothing to drawing, you name it. Like, I was painting, and again, like, not all of my friends really wanted to kind of do stuff like that. Some probably even detested it, if I'm going to be fair. But that's just what it was. It was fine for me, because you can't take away, if you find that brings you peace, you've got to understand that, like, your peace is going to shine a light on some souls that are maybe a bit, do you know what I mean, still finding themselves. They're still on a journey, if they don't understand that they've got to go on their own separate journey. So I felt like that caused a bit of disruption. I lost like a good few of my friends whilst on that journey. And then, I just kind of like, just gone with the flow, man. Just went with the flow after that. I just had to double down in because I'm looking at from the period after I went from doing the clothing design, because I no longer do it anymore, but that was almost like a weird transitional year for me. I think that was like a big one because I had gone from like being on like, I don't know, cloud nine, because again, when you're a creative, you have to be in that almost that sense of delusion to whatever you're doing. People are never going to understand it, so you just have to do regardless whatever you're doing. And you could have all these obstacles. People are going to be like, what are you still doing here? Are you having a midlife crisis? Like, why are you switching up or changing what you actually want to do in life? But you have to be so driven to take that road and understand that that's the road that I'm going down. No matter whatever happens, financially it could be a burden. I could lose a lot of friends. I might have to detach from certain members of family, things. You might even lose your job or your 9 to 5, your mundane, wherever your routine, wherever you go into. But because you're so driven towards that then is your go-to force. And I felt that I needed that because of that period of what I had gone through just before then, which was, it was crazy, man. I was going for a lot of stuff, man. I wouldn't even highlight it to everyone, because what I was going through, everyone would just see me on a day-to-day and just presume I was still playing that character, which I felt everyone else needed validation from. So I was like kind of ha-ha, hee-hee, the Mr. Jolly Up every time. So I was always like, had a smile on my face, always kind of like even like dumbing down what I would have going on up here just to engage in conversation, because I felt if I spoke a certain type of way, people would kind of frown and or turn their nose as to like, oh, why is he speaking about that? Why is he talking? Because I just didn't find certain conversations I engaged with them anymore like that. And I felt like I was going backwards, because I'm like, okay, cool, I'm just doing it to appease this person for now, but I wasn't really getting any substance from it. And I felt that the frequency that they were on might have not been that great, because I don't have time I want to sit around talking about other people and stuff like that, or negativity. Like, if I've gone through an experience, I want to like uplift somebody. If I know that they've gone through something, so if I can't uplift them, or they don't want to speak about anything where we can talk in a more positive nature, then it's like you kind of got to sidestep a little bit. And sidestepping can almost look as though like I don't know. I think sometimes because we're still seeking that validation, if you sidestep, you feel as if you're like, oh, like, I don't want them to think I'm like, I think exactly what you're saying. Like, I think a lot of relationships are very transactional, which is a bit unhealthy, if I'm going to be completely honest. I think you do better yourself. I believe in everyone saying, yeah, you do have to better yourself and like be more full, like make sure that your cup is full and that you're fulfilled, because then obviously, yeah, you can pour into others. But then some people take that fullness and just believe, no, it's just me. That, like, okay, yeah, self-love is self-love, but then there's a reason as to it. Like, it doesn't just stop at you. It's so you can obviously fulfill a purpose, which is to do better onto others, help others. Like, even when we go through like burdens and the madness, you've gone through that to go and help somebody else. Like, additionally, like all I went through when like a couple years back, that will happen to me. I see so many people that are around me at this present day, and they're going through those same things that I was going through. Do you know what I mean? And had I not gone through that, you're unable to really recognize it. And if somebody's going through something, they can recognize if you've actually gone through it or not. It's like, we can't dictate or preach to anyone, if you haven't been through something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
that's something I strongly hold, is that like, I've been through some things, and nobody would have known it. But then when these individuals, because it's very random because I've got friends that like I hadn't spoken to in years, or even like not even friends, acquaintances that I hadn't spoken to for years, and it's like they just started to come around, and I'm like, this is a bit weird. But then I realised everyone's going through these similar themes. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm like, okay, cool. Like this feels a bit familiar to me, and so I can reach out to you right about now. I can choose to reach out, which normally I wouldn't really. I'd be a bit on the reserve because I don't want to be into people's business, because everyone can be. You don't know how people are going to take it, but something within just kind of like, I don't know. I felt that's where. Okay, my purpose is aligning here. Let me speak to these people, because I can reach out, and yeah, those, as I said, because I was able to know where they were coming from, I could feel that I was making that difference, and that was just from going through the bad. And then you also have to be good within yourself, because once you go through those storms, it puts you in a different place. You become numb to a lot of stuff as well. So a lot of problems where I'd generally be like, man, just suck it up, man. It's iron heart, just go through it. But it's not always about that, because I felt like when I thought, okay, that's just the way, like that's kind of just sweeping it under the surface. You can't put a bandage on a wound and not give it air. You need people to vent it out. And if you become that outlet, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's all a part of something, because then they go through it, then they help somebody else, like, and then you don't know, like, we don't understand who our reach is. So when people are saying, sometimes people want to reach the masses, but you could just be reaching one person. That one person is enough, because you don't realize that you're helping somebody else. They could go help 2, 4, 5, however much, and then it just keeps spreading. Then those people help other people, and then you're making you're making the motion. Like, do you understand? The motion is now in flow, because you've started where you needed to start in your journey. Because again, we don't understand everyone's, as I said, everyone's themes can be similar, but our journeys are all unique. And yeah, like somebody's going to come to me that might not come to you, and they might ask, we could be going through it, we could have a conversation, and we might be talking about, okay, yeah, I understand that, I resonate with that, probably. But then somebody might look at you, or somebody might same way, they might look at me and not want to have a conversation, and they might say, oh yeah, Ims, like, do you know? And you can break that down for them, because as I said, the individuals that were coming around me, I didn't really think that we had those those ties anymore, but it was just weird that everything just fell in place at the right time. And yeah, man, it just feels right. It was the first year my house caught on fire, which was crazy, man. I lost so much within that period of time. Like, it was like, like your whole life, imagine you have everything, like, it's all, like, I lost pretty much everything. There was so much, even like, I used to be dumb at the time, man. I used to have stashes of money in there as well, man. It was just burnt. I was just on square one again, and so many things again, like, I had to go through that, transitioning, like, I was just like, and then I never had no proper insurance for the house, so that just ended up going into my pocket again to pay out for stuff. I was living at hotels, living in people's houses. That was like a crazy that was a crazy period. Like, I was losing, like, there was a lot of my friends as well that didn't really understand what I was going through at the time, and so those relationships were kind of disintegrating in it, if that made sense, in it. Not just that we had anything, it was just kind of just organically just departing itself. Then from that, I had 2 car crashes actually. I had one that was just a little dashway thing, man. It is what it is, isn't it? And then I had another one, and that was quite serious, man. That was like the car writ off completely, and that just kind of it stopped me driving. Obviously, I was injured a little bit, but it wasn't the worst. But I think it was also like embedded in there. There was a bit of trauma, because even like just from driving, you didn't even realize it. It just came out of nowhere, spun the car, and then we think like life is so precious. Life can just happen like that. I was just heading somewhere, pumping my music, not even thinking anything would happen. boom, just like in 1 second. I remember like the airbags hit me and I blanked out. I literally opened my eyes, the car was just in smoke. I just heard someone scream, get out, get out. Like the car was just it was done. And then someone was just screaming, literally just trying to break open my door. And I was just like, you're like, what's happening here? Do you know what I mean? And so like, that was just one thing. Again, I'm just going about life. I'm not thinking anything of it. Do you know what I mean? And then all these other aspects just started to, life was just getting crazy, man. Like old situations from the past was creeping up. Again, like having disputes with some old school friends. Like my brother I had literally not seen in ages. I found out like he was in, obviously he's a bit of a, do you know what I mean? He's tasty on the odd occasion anyway, but I found out that my brother was in jail. I hadn't heard from him in ages, and then he was going through it, so I was kind of dealing with stuff that he was dealing with on his inside part of it, and also the externals of, or the ramifications of what he had done from outside. And then also like my dad had passed as well, like, and it was just like, you haven't got, it's me trying to hold everything together, do you know what I mean? So it was just a journey, that and amongst everything else, you know, like we just live life, do you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like some of the things, especially as like males, we just blank out, we just sweep it under the carpet. And that was always like my methodology, just sweep everything under the carpet. You're just cool, you just get on with it. But then you realize that's not going to be the cure. You have to go deep down within yourself, try and figure out like, okay, where does this stem from? Because there might even be issues that are already unaddressed from prior, and you know, just you need to stop. There's something here. There's a cycle of things, because it's just feelings. All of these things can happen to you now, but it's just how you feel and where your mindset's at. And that's what I realized. Those feelings now, I've had things happen since then, since that period, because that all happened at once. That was literally like boom, 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 and next thing. You can get to a point like, oh, come on, man. When's this going to stop, man? Allow me. But towards the end, I was just like numb. I was like, my dad went, I was just like, forget this, man. Do you know what I mean? And then, yeah, from the following year, because I think that was like December, from the following year, I just, because kind of like anything that was just happening didn't really bother me, you know? And I was realizing so many different things which I may have impinged on me before, or I might have taken it a bit sour or held some resentment. I just kind of felt, you know what, it's just your mindset, man. You need to go somewhere where you need to address everything. And then again, numbness isn't cool, because it also affects everyone else around you. And when you're not dealing with those things, you're unable to grow, because you're not forgiving. You need to forgive what you have done, take accountability for wherever stems with you, remove any sort of like victim mindset that you might have, because we tend to always fall into that as humans, innit? Find your truth. That's the one thing. We never really want to address our truths either, because it's the worst thing. It's like, oh wait, I've got to now understand that entity within me that is like, do you understand that you've never addressed? So yeah, I had to do a bit of work. On myself, and then you start to realize that, okay, cool, that's put to the side. You start to feel a bit of ease, and that's when you can start building blocks. Now you have to put it out there. Unfortunately, some people, when they just keep it to themselves, they can't find the right people to go and speak to as such. But talk to somebody, man, you know. I think it kind of boiled down to, at the time I was kind of deeply engaged in like spiritualism. I had to kind of figure out what and who I was. I think it was, there's like a divinity where you kind of just believe in source, like whatever source is, universe, you want to connect. It's like Mother Nature. Just whatever the the entity or whether the universe is calling to for me to do or who I need to be, that's what I need to follow. I need to get those messages, like, and that was just through meditation, grounding, like literally. I used to follow so many different like frequencies and signs, and that could be almost like a sign. I take that as a sign, like from the meditation. I used to sometimes sit down and meditate for like hours. Like I find it hard to concentrate, even so that it took me ages to get to a point where I could just be still and try not to be. It's hard because you're busy in your thoughts half the time, and your head just goes all over the place. And so like sometimes like you just sit there, like I had sun stare. I was doing so many different things that I had thought or possibly, okay, it was almost like a way of how do I escape. I was more searching for that, when really and truly I don't really look at it as a way of escaping. It's your truth. That's a part of you. You have to understand that this is the flesh, what we're living in, and it's killing off the flesh, but understanding you had to go through all of those journeys rather than escaping the life the life that you've lived. It's embracing it. It's all parts. If you don't embrace all of those parts, you never, like this person who you are now, you never find it. It's like what we've given you, like what I was talking about beforehand. If you had not gone through all of those struggles, how do you follow that purpose into helping other people?